In the beginning, the Creator brought Lakates from the depths of the void and breathed life into her. She bore fruit, and life multiplied, but needed caretakers. The Creator chose a caretaker for each constituent element of Lakates. Humans were charged with care for the animals and all creeping things. Elves were charged with care for the plants and all growing things. And the Dwarg were charged with the care of the rocks, minerals, and the planet itself. The Dwarg took to the mountains, digging deep into their beloved Lakates and carving out vast chambers to tend to her inner workings. Elves flourished in the forest, both Virden, forest elves, and Stygian, dark elves, living in harmony as progeny of the great mother trees of the forests, their life cycles forever tied to their beloved trees. The humans were the first to break the covenant. In their laziness they lifted the Dray from the insects, but the Dray began to prey upon the elves, and the ire of the elves grew against the humans. Thus began the first stirrings of conflict between the siblings under the Creator. Leaving their natural calling behind, the humans took to the seas. In their stead they left the Tarim, further unplanned progeny, half-brothers to the humans, but leaning closer to their animal kin. In the void left by the humans, the Tarim flourished. The humans, it turns out, were brilliant at seacraft, which the elves coveted. Conflicts exploded, wars were fought, civil war erupted between the Virden and the Stygian, eventually leading to the Great Schism, leaving the Virden in charge and the Stygian to serve. The orcs grew from the anguish of the slain elves. They bred with captured elf-kind, and produced them rock, half-orc and half-elf. These wild kind wander the wildernesses and lonely places of Lakates, forever outcast from the high, proud society of the elves. Into this world was born a legend, the Forest King, a human child born from the elven trees, a pariah amongst his people. He was ultimately murdered, but a prophecy foretells of a time when the Forest King shall return and set all the people back to their proper order. The elves brought forth their own abomination, the Sanguine, blood elves, and nurtured their deviancies. Eventually the Sanguine were conscripted to blight the humans. In their zeal to exterminate the humans, they unleashed something from the Shadow Realm, and the seas were turned scalding. The Sanguine blight was released into the rats that clambered on the human vessels. Blighted, but not utterly destroyed, humans retreated to the faraway places on the Scalding Seas, becoming vagabonds, wanderers, and nomads. The blighting had a side effect, and the Keg were born. Twisted, chaotic, and cruel, the Keg spread across the lands, lurking in the dark corners, the deep places, the sewers. As the humans struggled to survive in the Scalding Seas, the Virden perpetuated the final abomination. They chopped down their great mother trees and cannibalized them for planking to build their Elfwood ships. They carved figures from the wood and woke them to unlife with dark rituals. The Sanguine watched and learned and practiced and mastered the Shadowcraft. Ultimately, they brought forth their own abominations. The riches of the seas, of trade, colonization, and expansion brought with it the corruption and the greedy eyes cast upon the lucrative endeavors. The Dwarg were attracted to the lucre of the seas. The humans returned to trade. Still, the Virden elves dominated everything, and the Dwarg coveted that dominance. Turning their mining engines to the seas, the Dwarg crafted steam-powered ships to ply the waters of the Scalding Seas. The signs and portents indicate the return of the Forest King is soon. As Cold War turns hot, with border skirmishes between the Virden and the Dwarg, the world of Lakates is on the brink of a war like it has never seen before. As the veil between the Shadowlands thins and tears, while Lakates hangs on the verge of war, with prophecies fulfilled and fulfilling, change is the one thing that everyone can depend upon.